Okay, this one is on the flip side, and let's just take a look at an example of when it's used. Okay, so she's telling a story about her neighborhood, and she said that it's got a bad reputation, okay, of being kind of poor and dangerous, right?
Income neighborhoods in Alaska.
Okay.
But on the flip side, we've also gotten some.
Okay, but on the flip side, we've also gotten some awards, and that just came out of her mouth. Just she wasn't even really thinking about it. It's just another way to say, on the other hand.
But on the flip side, we've also gotten some awards for being like the most diverse. But on the flip side, we've also gotten some awards.
Talked about a negative thing, and then she said, but on the flip side, uh, means on the other hand, she's going to talk about a positive thing. Okay, so immediately when I thought about this expression on the flip side, I think of it as being the old uh, records, right? The vinyl records that had two sides. So it was kind of like an analog thing, and this needle would go down and it would uh, read the information from the kind of like the little bumps, I guess, on the surface of the vinyl record, right? And so in order uh, to listen to more music, you flipped it over, and that's what we said on the flip side. So if you would get a single, then somebody might be playing the most famous song, and then somebody might say, "What's on the flip side?" Right? So let's take a look here. And it kind of means on the opposite side, on the flip side. So the phrase comes from when a radio DJ plays vinyl records, which is exactly what I said. The disc has two sides on a 45. That's the smaller one, the 45 RPM, sides A and B. And this is always true. The song that the record company wanted to promote most heavily would go on the A side. Okay, so uh, okay, this is Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, and this is on the A side, which they wanted to promote most heavily because they put a lot of work into it, right? And uh, then on the flip side is I'm in love with my car, which is not quite so strongly promoted. Okay, so this one was done by Roger Taylor, and it was not quite the masterpiece that Bohemian Rhapsody was. Okay, so let's just talk about how this is used. It's always going to be the the opposite, right? When to use it. Okay, so uh, it basically means on the other hand. It's a synonym for on the other hand. Uh, so a way to describe the other side of something, a situation. Okay, you probably can realize that. I'll have to work really long hours to be away from my family, but on the flip side, I'll get the opportunity to travel the world. Um, I felt bored and disconnected because was no internet there. On the flip side, I was able to connect with nature. Okay, so I like my job in IT. It pays pretty well. Just for example, I'm not in IT, but if I was, I like my job in IT. It pays pretty well. But on the flip side, I have to work hard to stay on top of my profession because the technology keeps changing so fast. Okay. Uh, if you're a doctor, you're going to get probably make pretty good money, and you get a lot of prestige from being a doctor, right? People go, "Oh wow, he's cool." But on the flip side, you have to take a lot of risks, right? And you have to have it's stressful, right? And a lot of your equipment and stuff costs a lot of money and everything. So There's, it's always going to be a negative and then a positive, or a positive then a negative. Never works if you put two negatives, right? So like say, uh, it's hot and dusty out today. On the flip side, we don't have any water. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It's got to be a negative and a positive. Okay, so it's talking about the flip side of the record, right? And we say it's pretty common, really, right? So I will talk to you on the next idiom.